Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's go and have a look at SXP. Not anything that I've been holding actually for a little while, not bothered trading it actually. I get a few requests on the live stream to look at it. It's not really spoken to me too much, but what a devastating blow this has been. But in all fairness though, when you see things like this, I mean this is versus Bitcoin, so just short of a 50% over what the last couple of weeks from the top to bottom versus Bitcoin, so pretty horrible stuff. I mean if you compare that to most of the coins out there today, I mean it's got to be one of the worst ones. But in all fairness, let's think about this as in terms of a basic level of support. If we look at historically on this chart, and again, it's not a very old chart, but if we have a look about what this chart is, where it comes from, what we're looking at basically is we do have more or less a historical level of support down here. And again, this is for all the knife catchers out there who've got bigger balls than me. I mean, I'm not really willing to put into something like this, given the nature of the market as of today. Although, I'm still pretty bullish on the market. I don't really see a problem with what's taking place today. But I mean, if there was somebody out there with disposable cash that they don't mind throwing into something that could potentially go up from this level and maybe even catching a low, this could potentially be one of those areas. But we've seen areas like this before. A support is only a support until it breaks down, and then where do we go from there? You could get severely injured. This is a deceptive looking chart in the way that it looks. If we broke down from this support level, yeah, there would be intermediate steps between a 20% low, maybe a 30% low, or maybe even a 60% low, and who knows where it will go from there. Who knows? I mean, we look at where we were rejected today on this weekly. It was smack bang on this resistance, which is the 50 exponential moving average. Now, this is versus Bitcoin, so it's not fair really to measure this with any other chart. But the 50 exponential moving average on most coins have been, that's way, we've been way ahead of these for a long time. This is Fetch, and I know that Fetch is obviously gone parabolic. It's one of the best coins in my portfolio at the moment, especially for today. Anyway, it's the only thing that's up. But I mean, if we think about how this is retraced since its last peak over here, this is pulling back all the way from March all the way down through the May crash here, and only spent a brief amount of time dipping below it on the weekly. It spent 1-2 week. 3-4 weeks and a little wick there, and basically has been okay since there. We bring it over to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's not seen the 50 weekly for a while. These are weeks, you see. So we spent most of the time sort of closing candles above it. We only closed one candle below it in this entire giant pullback, this giant crash. And so I suppose, like I said, it's not exactly fair to look at this and say, well, we've not reclaimed it, but we have been rejected from it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times now, and since that 5th time, it's been a devastating collapse. But, not all altcoins are created equal, and this is certainly a good example of that, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's all over for SXP. SXP, I suppose, that it could be driven by its fundamental value, which is yet to be realised completely. It's always been a bit pumpy and dumpy, and I'll just bring you back in time a little bit for when I was trading this. I got back in, I got into SXP down at these low levels where we found a clear bottom started. I got 1 pump, 2 pump, and that was enough for me. And I started bot trading it, and then when I realised that this is probably going to continue up, I the royal we, I went in a bit hard on it and sailed it up, incrementally taking profit on the way up until I got completely out. So yeah, not been in this one for since for a while, since the beginning of the alt season, really, since probably, I couldn't tell you when. But it's always in the back of my mind, which is why I noticed it today, because it's in my favourites of coins to look at. So I always keep an eye on it, but I never really felt like there was an entry point. So, like I say, this is for those people who have the big balls. I mean, in all fairness, we had just created a golden cross, and golden crosses do have a habit of being dumped into, but this is this is a little bit more than dumping into a golden cross. This has gone far beyond the golden cross and down to this level of support. So, like I say, I'm not saying it's all over. I'm actually relatively optimistic about it. Maybe over the next few days I will, once the market has maybe settled, we'll see where it goes. maybe this could become an opportunity. But to catch a knife based on a day like today and a wick like this, a candle like this, should I say, is a bit too risky. You know, a bit rich for my blood. But yeah, sometimes I suppose you've got to have the big balls to make the big bucks. But my balls are medium size. I take a lot of caution with something like this, because I know how nasty things can get if you're on the wrong side of a trade. And this is one of the things I've been saying, I suppose, over the last few weeks, is that taking profit into Bitcoin is my preference, and not getting too greedy. Over the last couple of weeks, not getting too greedy is my preference. Taking profit on the way up all the time, and for me, taking profit into Bitcoin is the way that it should be, because despite coming down 10% today, I still think we've got a long way to go before we reach a potential top. Doesn't mean we can't come down further. I treat Bitcoin as my actual balance, rather than the amount of pounds or dollars that my overall portfolio is generally worth. Trying to stack as much Bitcoin as possible. One of the main reasons is the Bitcoin dominance being so low. I'll just bring that up for you now, so we can have a quick look. Bitcoin dominance has been so low for so long that, and especially the last time we came down to these low levels, I feel like a bounce, whether it's in a dump or a pump, is on the cards. Like when we broke down from 44.5, I said, okay, the party's on for a little bit longer, let's go to town. And the party is very much still on, in my opinion, across the board with the market. I don't know if you've noticed, but basically $500 billion was taken out of the market today. Just $500 billion. Just $500 billion just comes out of the market just like that. Too much use of derivatives in this market, I think, is causing such dramatic moves. Anyway, are we going to bounce from here on Bitcoin dominance, or are we going to break down? I don't know. Is this going to be our next level of resistance before we continue down? I don't know. Moving averages are all facing down, so it doesn't look particularly good for Bitcoin dominance. But there's always that chance that we do bounce. This is a spot-on, perfect little wick here on the bottom of this weekly Bollinger Band. So I mean, I suppose it's fair to imagine that the Bollinger Bands are being respected and being used as a trading tool using Bitcoin dominance. When I thought we were going to break bullish, we didn't break bullish at all. We actually got rejected on the 20 weekly here on the Bitcoin dominance. So the Bollinger Bands are working for the Bitcoin dominance chart on their own. Never mind all these support resistances, moving averages, Ichimoku clouds, or whatever it is that we want to use. The simple Bollinger Band strategy on the weekly seems to be working a treat. And if that's the case, then yeah, we could expect a move back up to 45% dominant, and then a rejection from there back down to wherever we're going to go. So I'm very impartial to the way that the market is behaving. I'm exposed with alts as well as Bitcoin, but the lower we go, I hedge more and more into Bitcoin, because this chart can't go to zero. It will bounce at some point, whether we bounce from today, we bounce from down here at 40, or we break down to our historical lows down to 36, and then maybe even beyond. I don't know. But the idea for me is, just as we hedge into altcoins, the higher we go, using the historical highs as areas to spot a potential alt season, which works out very, very well. We do have to think about it in terms of a reversal the other way, a rotation back into Bitcoin. And, so I don't know why I've gone off on a tangent. This is all supposed to be about SXP. But, I'm not saying that the alts are finished with, far from it. I still think there's plenty of room to move with the market. There's money flowing into the market despite the $500 billion that came out of it today. But just be cautious and careful, right? Just be cautious, and careful. Anyway, I'm going to leave it with you there. Those who have got the big balls, then maybe this is something for you. I'm not a financial advisor, and if I was, I wouldn't advise you do anything as crazy as catch this knife. However, I suppose we'll see where we go in the next few days, and if it becomes a potential opportunity in a couple of days' time, then great. Nice to see FET is continuing with its rally. Anyway, I'll leave it with you there. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.